What's going on, guys? So I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and if I'm being honest, the more I look back, the more obvious it becomes that Rockstar today is not the same Rockstar that we grew up with. I might be a bit biased here, but there was a time when Rockstar felt like the studio that lived and breathed single-player worlds that had actual soul. Back then, when a Rockstar game dropped, you knew that two things were coming. First, you were getting a complete story that stood on its own. And second, you were probably getting some single-player expansions down the line. GTA 4 had two full story DLCs that redefined the entire city. Red Dead Redemption got Undead Nightmare, which somehow turned a grounded western into a cult classic horror spin-off. And Rockstar didn't rush, and they also didn't disappear for a decade. They built worlds, told stories, and expanded on them. And then, after that, they moved on. Now, here's a crazy fact that most people don't know. GTA Online was never supposed to be the monster that it became. When it launched, it was honestly kind of a mess. Servers were broken, you had characters getting wiped, and a lot of people at the time hopped off pretty early. I remember plenty of my friends saying, like, this is cool, but I'm mostly here for the story. And Rockstar seemed to agree with that at first. GTA Online felt like a side mode, almost like a bonus attached to GTA 5 rather than the main event. If you asked anyone back then whether online would outlive the story mode by more than a decade, they would have laughed. But then, something happened that completely changed the trajectory of Rockstar as a company. What happened was money, and I don't mean good money, I mean absurd money. GTA Online started generating an astronomical amount of revenue through shark cards, and that's when the bonus mode turned into a business model. Rockstar stumbled into a live service goldmine, and once they realized what they had, everything changed forever. Instead of thinking in terms of finished stories, they started thinking in terms of player retention, new updates, seasonal content, and virtual economies. Sadly, from a business perspective, it does make sense. Why spend years making a story DLC that people only play once when online is printing millions every single month? But from a creative perspective, this is where things started to change for the worst. Something that always seriously pissed me off is that Rockstar absolutely planned story DLC for GTA 5. We know this now since actors have talked about it and from hidden in-game files. Trevor, Michael, and Franklin were all supposed to get a major expansion. There were ideas floating around that were almost like Undead Nightmare level concepts, and then all of it was scrapped, not because it was bad, but because it didn't make sense financially anymore. The funny thing is that those assets didn't disappear either. They were repurposed for GTA Online updates instead. If I'm being honest, this was the moment that Rockstar stopped being a studio that expanded stories and became a studio that expanded online systems and their wallets. And something else changed too, and you can feel it when you look at the timeline. Rockstar used to release games much closer together. GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, GTA 4, even Red Dead Redemption followed not so long after. There was a consistent rhythm to it. Once GTA Online took over, that rhythm died completely, which is why we're still waiting for GTA 6 13 years later. Development cycles stretch longer and longer, not just because their games got bigger, but because online never stopped printing money. Rockstar didn't just stop making games anymore or became lazy, they were too busy maintaining a digital economy that was making them billions. And that kind of situation doesn't leave much room for frequent game releases or experimental side projects. Now here's where it gets worse. While GTA Online was growing, Rockstar was also pouring everything into Red Dead Redemption 2, Dan Houser's last game at Rockstar. And you can feel that passion in the game's weight through the detail and the writing. It genuinely felt like it had exhaustion baked into it. But look at what happened after launch. No single player expansions and online support that never reached a fraction of GTA levels. It feels like Red Dead 2 was the last time Rockstar went all in on a story because they wanted to, not because it fit a long-term monetization plan. And if I'm being honest, it feels like the studio barely survived making that game the way they used to, especially with core Rockstar founders leaving shortly after. This is the moment when GTA Online became more than just a mode and started becoming the blueprint for everything Rockstar does next. Instead of Online being built on top of a finished game, future projects like GTA 6 are now being designed with Online in mind from day one. GTA 5 quickly stopped being a story about Michael, Franklin, and Trevor and started becoming a platform. And once that shift happened, there was no going back. When you look at everything we know about GTA 6, you can already tell what Rockstar is planning. Everything from the scale, the deep AI, and the gameplay systems, as well as the rumors about evolving maps and long-term support. This game isn't being built as a single-player experience anymore. It's being built as the next decade-long ecosystem. And that doesn't mean the story will be bad, but it does mean the priorities now are completely different. Rockstar isn't asking how do we tell a great crime story anymore, they're asking how do we keep players here for 10 plus years. To be fair, GTA Online did give us something. It kept GTA alive during massive gaps between releases. It created insane player stories and moments you couldn't script. But if I'm being honest, we lost something too. We lost that guarantee that Rockstar would come back and deepen a story world after launch. We lost that feeling that a game was allowed to end. Everything now has to be expandable, monetizable, and endlessly relevant. And that trade-off still divides the community and probably will till the end of time. So this is where I land on it. GTA Online didn't just change Rockstar's business model. I'd argue it changed their identity. They went from storytellers who occasionally made multiplayer modes to architects of massive digital economies. Whether that's good or bad depends on what you value. So I want to hear from you guys. Do you miss the old Rockstar that dropped story DLCs and moved on? Or do you think GTA Online was the best thing that ever happened to the franchise? And more importantly, do you think GTA 6 can somehow balance both worlds? Or is that era officially over? Leave your thoughts down below in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video even a little bit, consider liking and subscribing. Until next time, everyone, take care.